Welcome, friends, to the Fantasy Whizz coverage of the first test of the two-match test series between India and New Zealand. Now, to give you some background, India has a very good record against New Zealand in test matches. Of the 57 matches played till date, India have won 21, New Zealand have won 10, and 26 have ended in a draw. India would look to further improve this record, and this series is also important for India from the ICC Test Championship standpoint, as a victory in this series would hold India in very good stead to reach the final in Lords. Just to give you some more insight into this record, the historical record, I think the last test match between these two nations was played almost 5 years back. So there has not been a lot of recent matches between these two teams, but I think these two teams know each other really well because they play a lot of cricket. I think they know each other from because a lot of New Zealand players are involved in the IPL. So the exposure is there. Now to go to the ground and pitch conditions, the match is being played at Basin Reserve in Wellington. The weather is expected to be pleasant over here with temperatures around 20s during the duration of the match and with no forecast of rain. The Basin Reserve, commonly known as the Basin, is a cricket ground in Wellington, New Zealand, which has a historical place status and is the oldest ground in New Zealand. This ground has been witness to some of cricket's very finest moments. The pitch is usually a good batting wicket, but the grass on the pitch really helps the bowlers on the first couple of days. The pitch flattens out after that for the remainder of the match and is a batting paradise. So I think you should have a very keen eye on the toss before selecting your team. Now moving on to some team news. New Zealand is expected to have their full strength bowling trio of Trent Boult, Neil Wagner and Tim Southee. Kyle Jamieson is also included in the squad on the back of good performances in the ODI series. Although we have just learned that Neil Wagner might not be available for the first test given that he is expecting the birth of his first child. This is not officially confirmed yet, but I think this is very likely. Ishant Sharma has cleared his fitness test at the National Cricket Academy in Bengaluru and would be joining the Indian squad for the two-match series. This is definitely good news for India. Sharma will be an addition to the already strong pace attack of India comprising of Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav and Navdeep Saini. Now moving on to the likely 11s for both the teams. I think India is likely to persist with Mayank Agarwal in the opening slot, although he is not in the best of his form. But given his experience in this particular format of the game and his good domestic form, uh, either of Prithvi Shaw or Shubman Gill would likely fill into the second opener slot. Although we think that Prithvi Shaw might just get the nudge before Gill for the first match. Pujara, Kohli, Rahane, and Vihari would likely be the middle order combination with either of Saha or Pant for the role of the wicketkeeper. Our inclination would be towards Saha for the first match, given his good skills behind the stumps. On the bowling front, India are likely to go with three quakes and one spinner. Bumrah would definitely play with the other two slots up for grabs between Shami, Ishant Sharma, Umesh, and Shaini. The slot for the spinner can be either of Ashwin or Jadeja, and I think we'll only know after the toss who it is. Now for New Zealand is finally back to full strength for the first test with the return of Trent Boult and Kane Williamson. The playing 11 for New Zealand looks very straightforward with the only possibility of slotting in Jamieson ahead of the three experienced quicks, which is a possibility as Neil Wagner is expecting the birth of his first child and might not be available for the first test. Now, let me move on to some key players that we think should definitely be a part of your team. Uh, the first one that we have selected is Virat Kohli. Virat is a good pick in any good team as he's a world class player. Although he might not be in the best of form as you could have seen in the T20Is and the ODI series, but I think he can bounce back anytime and he's capable of piling up very big scores. The second player that we have chosen is Cheteshwar Pujara. He has a very good overseas records and should definitely be a part of your team. He has shown his mettle in the warm-up match where he has scored a century. So no thinking over there. I think no justification is required for the third pick, which is Jasprit Bumrah. Now from New Zealand, we have selected Kane Williamson, who's an obvious choice, who's the captain and has been in really good batting touch. And I think Ross Taylor is just going through a purple patch in his career. So we could definitely see some very good batting performances from him if his current form in the ODIs is something to go by. On the bowling front, I think Trent Boult and Neil Wagner, which is New Zealand's most experienced batting pair, is definitely going to be key for New Zealand and New Zealand batting conditions. And I think they should form a part of your team as well. Uh, Now moving ahead, I think we've selected some value players as well. Now, when we say value players, these are players who are not very expensive on the Dream 11 platform. They're not a part of most of the teams, but selecting these players will definitely give an edge to your team to win most of the leagues. I think the first player that we have selected is Prithvi Shaw. He's an explosive opener, and if he gets going by any chance, I think he scores runs at a very quick pace, and you can earn a lot of points. The next pick that we have on this list is Hanuma Vihari. I think Hanuma Vihari is a lower order, middle order batsman, and I think this is a very good position in New Zealand to bat on. You do not want to be facing the new ball in New Zealand, and by the time Vihari comes in the play, the ball is relatively old, and I think those are very good conditions for batting. He can bowl as well, so he can give you some bonus points on the bowling front as well. The next pick is Tim Southey. I think he's a very dangerous proposition in New Zealand, and especially on grounds where it swings a lot. He can contribute with the bat as well. Our next pick is CDG again for the same reasons that he's good in swinging conditions, and he can contribute with the bat as well, as he has shown in the recent ODI series. Uh, I'll now show you some team combinations from Dream 11 that our Fantasy Whizz team has selected. Although these team combinations are for Dream 11, but our earlier advice in terms of key players and value players can be used on any platform to win big points. We have gone with three combinations. I think that there are a couple of combinations which favor New Zealand a bit. There's one combination which favors India. The team 1 and team 3 are New Zealand favoring, and you should definitely go for them if New Zealand were to win the toss, as I think they have New Zealand strike bowlers selected. Team 2 is essentially wherein India wins the toss and elects to bowl, because they have India's two premier fast bowlers who can wreak havoc in the first innings with the new ball. So I think that's it from Team Fantasy Whizz for now. All the best, guys, for this match, and hope you win big. Following our tips, please do subscribe to our channel and for more updates on other coming matches. And do press the like button if you like our video. Thank you for watching the video.